Hey guys, G-Show here with Blindsided Sports, covering the Buffalo Bills, and the NFL Draft is officially 10 days away. What we're going to talk about today is Bills pre-draft meetings and what they mean going forward and what they mean for this draft. And look at last year, the Bills met with Josh Allen, they met with Tremaine Edmonds, they met with Harrison Phillips, and those were the first three picks, okay? There's a few guys that the Bills have met with more than once, and what does that mean for this coming draft? Let's find out. Now, who the Bills have met with this year, it definitely tells a story. They've met with a bunch of different people. Some of the top guys, some sleepers, some guys you don't know, some guys everybody knows, okay? They've met with the Quinnen Williams, the Josh Allens, the top dogs that we're probably not going to go after. You know, maybe they're super high on them and they trade up, but most likely not. There are a few guys that they've met with multiple times. Let's get into it here. One guy we've heard about a ton, Ed Oliver. Not only did they meet with him at the Combine, but they had a private meeting, private workout with this D tackle who is an explosive monster in the middle of that D line. They're comparing him to Aaron Donald for obvious reasons. Does he have that ceiling? We don't know. But it's a guy that we've heard a lot about. And I think at the end of the day, if he falls to the Bills at 9, which I'm seeing on more and more mock drafts that he's not going to, I think the Bills take him at 9. Another guy the Bills have had more than one meeting with, another guy, Combine and a private workout, Rashawn Gary. Now, it's another thing, similar as Oliver. That's why I'm starting out with these two guys. We all know that they're top-tier talent. These guys are projected to go ahead of the Bills pick at 9. Oliver and Gary just keep climbing that ladder for all these mock drafts. So I'm starting with these two guys because the Bills have met with them a bunch, and they are very, very interested. And we're keeping this trend going here. I think this trend of who they've talked to quite a bit, who they've met with. We'll talk more about what the story here is, but these two guys are top tier talents. So if either one of these guys fall at 9 to the Buffalo Bills, don't be surprised if they take it. Brian Burns. We've heard it here and there on these mock drafts. Sometimes he comes to the Bills up at 9. Sometimes the Bills trade back and grab him. But he's a guy that the Bills are definitely interested in. Met with him at the Combine, and again, held a private workout for him. Now look, there's a ton of guys that the Bills have met with in this pre-draft process. But these are the guys that are projected to go in the first or the second round who the Bills have met with more than once. They've met with a bunch of guys one time, whether it's the Senior Bowl, Combine, private, whatever. There's a couple different options. They've met with a bunch of guys, 50, 60 guys, right? But these guys, the Birds, the Garys, the Olivers, they've met with them more than once and for obvious reasons, okay? The trend continues. The D-line. Now we got Jalen Ferguson here from Louisiana Tech. Not from a big-name school. Louisiana Tech obviously is a much smaller school, but this guy's a freak. Setting school records, setting FBS records. He's an absolute monster on the defensive line, and he's projected to go late first, early second. You know, and he might even slip further than that. But again, the trend, guys. All these guys that the Bills are meeting with, a lot more than anybody else. D-line. It keeps on going here. As I'm reading the tracker on who the Bills have met with, who they've been working out and whatnot, it's just D-end after D-end after D-tackle after D-tackle after D-end. The trend continues here, guys. I think the Bills think that there's a ton of depth at D-line and defensive end in this draft and look for them to take advantage of it. Whether it's taking those guys at the top with a Gary or an Oliver or possibly trading back and getting Birds or a Jalen Ferguson, I think there's a lot of depth here. There's a lot of star potential, and the Bills are doing their due diligence, and they're going to take someone on the D-line in the first or second round of this draft. I would be remiss if I didn't cover everybody that the Bills met with more than once. Okay, there are a few other guys. A.J. Brown, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. That's a big one. That's big. We like that. I like A.J. Brown. He's one of those guys that might fall into the second round, okay? I think that's why they're going after him. I think that's why they've met with him more than a few times, because he might be a guy that slides. Devin Singletary, running back out of Florida Atlantic's another one. Running back, a lot of explosiveness. And one of these guys, we don't know. This running back class, it seems like if you can hit the right guy in these drafts, third, fourth, fifth round running backs have a ton of potential. So Caleb McGarry out of Washington. Offensive tackle projected to go late first, early second, maybe a little bit further down than that. Bills have met with him 3 times, okay? They've met with McGarry more than any other player in the NFL draft. So look for that. Look for that. I mean, that's also a trade back scenario or with our second round pick, okay? But I think with everybody that the Bills have met with for the most part, between the combine and the private workouts, it really seems like the Bills are very, very keyed in on the defensive lineman in this draft for that first, second round. So look for the Bills to take the top available talent on the D line at that 9, or trade back and get a great pick later on in the first round with a Burns or a Ferguson type. Guys, side note here, I think it's important to note that we have not met at the combine private workout. See, no meeting at all with TJ Hockenson, and we have met with Noah Fant. So I think it's important to note that. A lot of guys say we might take TJ at that 9 pick. It doesn't mean everything. The meetings, they don't mean everything. The Bills have drafted, especially Bean and McDermott and these guys. They've drafted guys they haven't met with. But with a guy that high, projected to go that high, TJ Hockenson, no meeting whatsoever with the Buffalo Bills. I think we can all but cross him off our list. Guys, the live show is being moved to Wednesday this week. G-Show and the little G-Shows, there's just too much madness going on. Blindsided Squad, we in this. Wednesday night, 9 o'clock, everything's getting slid back. We're going to dive all the way in. And all the draft talk at that point will be 8 days away. Let's go, boy. Blindsided Squad, thank you guys for the likes, the comments, the subscribes. I love you guys. Draft's coming, boy. Draft's coming. Let's go, Bills.